why does quantum manifestation fail for most people? Because it's too simple. In this Sleep Entangled video, we'll explain the hidden truth about how quantum physics and manifestation actually work together. Discover why forcing your desires creates interference, while effortless alignment with the quantum field can effortlessly collapse them into reality. This isn't just another talk on the law of attraction, it's quantum physics manifestation explained through legitimate scientific principles, including the observer effect and quantum mechanics. This video is specifically designed for deep sleep listening and subconscious programming, helping you reprogram your reality creation abilities while you rest. Welcome to Sleep Entangled and to this exploration of quantum manifestation. As you settle into your comfortable space, allow your breathing to naturally slow and deepen. Tonight, we're going on a peaceful journey into the fascinating world where quantum physics meets consciousness, where the smallest particles of reality dance with your deepest intentions. The irony is beautiful and simple. Quantum manifestation fails for most people precisely because it's too easy. Yes, you heard that correctly. The very simplicity of the process is what makes it challenging for our complex, overthinking minds to grasp and accept. Imagine, if you will, a leaf floating gently down a stream. The leaf doesn't struggle, doesn't force its way through the water, doesn't resist the current. It simply allows itself to be carried by the natural flow of the stream, moving effortlessly toward its destination. This leaf understands something profound about the nature of reality that we, with our busy minds and forceful attitudes, often forget. In the quantum realm, this same principle applies. The quantum field responds not to force, not to struggle, not to desperate wanting, but to alignment, to coherence, to the gentle allowing of what already exists in potential to collapse into manifest reality. Dr. Amit Goswami, a quantum physicist who has spent decades studying consciousness, once said that consciousness is the ground of all being. This isn't just poetic language, it's pointing to a fundamental truth about reality that quantum physics has been revealing to us for over a century. When we understand this truth, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. But here's where most people get stuck. They hear about quantum manifestation, and immediately their minds start working, strategizing, forcing, trying to manipulate the quantum field through sheer willpower. It's like trying to grasp water with a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. The quantum field, you see, operates on principles that are often counterintuitive to our everyday experience. In our macroscopic world, we push things to make them move. We apply force to create change. We work hard to achieve results. But in the quantum realm, the very act of forcing creates interference patterns that actually prevent manifestation from occurring. Think about the famous double-slit experiment, one of the most elegant demonstrations of quantum mechanics. When scientists observed photons or electrons passing through two slits, something remarkable happened. The mere act of observation changed the behavior of these particles. When unobserved, they behaved like waves, creating interference patterns. When observed, they behaved like particles, creating distinct impacts. This experiment revealed something profound about the relationship between consciousness and reality. The observer, consciousness itself, plays a fundamental role in determining what becomes manifest in physical reality. But here's the key insight that most people miss. It wasn't the intensity of the observation, the forcing of the observation, or the desperation of the observation that created the effect. It was simply the quality of awareness itself. As you lie here now, feeling your body relaxing more deeply with each breath, consider how this applies to your own life. When you desperately want something, when you try to force an outcome, when you squeeze your desires with mental effort, you're actually creating quantum interference. You're disturbing the very field that could effortlessly deliver what you seek. The ancient mystics understood this. They spoke of Wu Wei, effortless action. They talked about surrender, about allowing, about becoming empty so that the divine could fill them. What they were describing, without knowing the scientific terminology, were quantum principles of manifestation. Modern quantum physics has given us the language to understand what the mystics always knew. Reality is far more fluid and responsive than we imagined. At the quantum level, particles exist in superposition. They exist in all possible states simultaneously until observation collapses them into a specific state. This means that right now, as you listen to these words, every possibility for your life exists in the quantum field. Every dream, every desire, every potential future is already there, waiting to be collapsed into manifest reality through the simple act of aligned consciousness. But alignment is not effort. Alignment is not struggle. Alignment is like tuning a radio to the right frequency. You don't force the radio waves to come to you. They're already there, filling all of space. You simply adjust your receiver until it resonates with the frequency you wish to receive. This is why so many people fail at quantum manifestation. They're trying to create the radio waves instead of simply tuning in to what's already broadcasting. They're attempting to generate the quantum field instead of learning to harmonize with it. As we continue this gentle journey together, you'll discover why simplicity is the key, why ease is the path, and why your natural state of being is actually the most powerful manifestation tool you possess. Let your mind relax now. Let your analytical thinking soften and allow yourself to simply receive these insights without effort. The quantum field has been waiting patiently for you to remember this truth. It has been holding all your dreams and desires in potential, ready to collapse them into reality the moment you stop interfering with your own power. Tonight, as you rest in this peaceful state, you're already beginning to align with the effortless flow of quantum creation. Chapter 1: Simplicity versus Complexity in Quantum Creation. As you breathe slowly and deeply, let's explore one of the most beautiful paradoxes of quantum manifestation. The simpler you make it, the more powerful it becomes. The more complex you make it, the more it resists you. Imagine a child blowing soap bubbles in a sunlit garden. Watch how effortlessly they form, how perfectly round and shimmering they become with just a gentle breath. The child doesn't strain, doesn't complicate the process, doesn't worry about the surface tension or the molecular structure of the soap film. They simply blow, and magic happens. Now imagine an adult who has studied the physics of bubble formation, who understands surface tension, who knows about the optimal soap-to-water ratio. This adult might become so focused on the technical aspects that they forget the simple joy of blowing bubbles. They might blow too hard, worry too much, analyze too deeply, and end up with fewer, less perfect bubbles than the child who simply allows. This is exactly what happens with quantum manifestation. The more we complicate it, the more we interfere with its natural flow. Let's understand why this happens from a quantum perspective. In quantum field theory, there's a principle called the uncertainty principle, discovered by Werner Heisenberg. This principle tells us that the more precisely we try to pin down certain properties of a quantum system, the more uncertain other properties become. Applied to manifestation, this means that the more we try to control and micromanage the how, when, and where of our desires, the more uncertain and unstable the manifestation becomes. It's as if the quantum field responds to our attempts to control by becoming more elusive, more unpredictable. But when we approach manifestation with simplicity, with a light touch, with what we might call quantum grace, something beautiful happens. The field responds with coherence, with stability, with clear, clean manifestation patterns. Think about how a master pianist plays. They've practiced the complex techniques for years, but when they perform, all that complexity dissolves into simplicity. Their fingers move effortlessly across the keys, not because they're thinking about each note, but because they've transcended thinking and entered a state of pure flow. This is the state we want to cultivate for quantum manifestation, a state where we've understood the principles deeply enough that we can let go of needing to understand them. We trust the process so completely that we can surrender to its wisdom. Dr. Joe Dispenza, in his research on consciousness and reality creation, has found that the brain states most conducive to manifestation are actually the simplest ones, states of coherence, where the heart and brain are synchronized, where thoughts are clear but not forced, where emotions are elevated but not manufactured. When your brain is in a state of coherence, something remarkable happens at the quantum level. The electromagnetic field generated by your heart becomes more organized, more powerful. This field extends several feet beyond your physical body and interacts directly with the quantum field that surrounds and interpenetrates all matter. In this state of coherence, you become like a tuning fork that's struck and begins to vibrate at its natural frequency. This vibration resonates through the quantum field, attracting experiences, people, and circumstances that match that frequency. You're not forcing anything to happen. You're simply vibrating at the frequency of your desired reality. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. They achieve this beautiful state of coherence for a few moments, and then their analytical mind kicks in. They start wondering if it's working, checking for results, trying to improve the process. It's like a person who plants a seed and then digs it up every day to see if it's growing. The quantum field responds to consistency of vibration, not intensity of effort. A gentle, steady alignment will always outperform sporadic bursts of intense manifestation work. It's like the difference between a laser and a flashlight. A laser produces coherent light. All the photons are aligned and moving in the same direction. A flashlight produces incoherent light, photons going in all directions, canceling each other out. When you approach manifestation with simplicity, you're creating coherent quantum states. When you approach it with complexity and effort, you're creating incoherent states that interfere with each other. Let me share with you the 3 pillars of simple quantum manifestation. First, clear intention without attachment. This means knowing what you want without needing to control how you get it. It's like programming a GPS system. You enter the destination clearly, but you trust the system to find the best route. You don't need to micromanage every turn. When you have clear intention without attachment, you're creating what quantum physicists call a pure state. A quantum state that's uncontaminated by conflicting probabilities. Your consciousness knows exactly what it's aligned with, but it doesn't interfere with the infinite ways that alignment can manifest. Second, elevated emotion without effort. This means feeling the joy, gratitude, or excitement of your desired reality without straining to feel these emotions. True elevated emotion arises naturally when you align with your authentic desires. It's not manufactured, it's recognized. Think about falling in love. You don't have to force yourself to feel love. It arises spontaneously when you connect with someone who resonates with your heart. The same is true for manifestation. When you truly connect with a desire that's aligned with your authentic self, elevated emotions arise naturally. These elevated emotions are not just feelings, they're quantum information. They're broadcasting your vibrational signature into the quantum field, informing the field about which timeline you're choosing to experience. But they only work when they're authentic, when they're effortless, when they arise from genuine alignment rather than mental effort. Third, present moment awareness without overthinking. This means this being fully here, now, in this moment, without analyzing whether you're doing it right, or wondering when your manifestation will appear. It's the art of being present to presence itself. In quantum mechanics, there's something called the quantum Zeno effect, where constant observation can actually freeze the evolution of a quantum system. Applied to manifestation, this means that constantly checking for results, constantly analyzing the process, constantly wondering if it's working can actually prevent your desires from manifesting. Present moment awareness is the antidote to this. When you're fully present, you're not in the past regretting what hasn't happened yet, and you're not in the future worrying about when it will happen. You're simply here now, in the eternal moment where all manifestation actually occurs. As you rest here now, you can practice this simplicity. You don't need to do anything, achieve anything, or become anything. You simply need to recognize what you already are, a conscious being naturally connected to the infinite field of possibilities that is quantum reality. Feel how easy it is to simply be. Feel how effortless it is to exist. This effortlessness is your natural state, and it's also the most powerful manifestation state. When you stop trying so hard to create your reality and simply allow yourself to align with it, everything changes. The quantum field has been waiting for you to remember this simplicity. It's been patiently holding all your dreams and desires and potential, ready to collapse them into reality the moment you stop interfering with your own power. Let yourself sink deeper into this recognition now. Let the complexity of your thoughts dissolve into the simplicity of pure being. Let the effort of trying melt into the grace of allowing. Now, this is where the magic happens. Not in the complexity of technique, but in the simplicity of alignment. Chapter 2. the science of coherence and energy. As you continue to relax deeper into this peaceful state, let's explore the fascinating science behind coherence, the key that unlocks quantum manifestation in the most effortless way possible. Imagine you're standing by a still mountain lake at dawn. The surface is so perfectly calm that it mirrors the sky like glass. This is coherence, a state where all the elements are aligned, harmonized, working in perfect unity. Now imagine throwing a stone into this lake. The ripples spread out in perfect concentric circles, each wave coherent with the others, carrying information and energy in an organized, powerful way. Your consciousness, when coherent, creates similar ripples in the quantum field. These ripples carry the information of your desires, your intentions, your dreams, and they propagate through the field in a way that organizes reality around them. But what exactly is coherence from a scientific perspective? In physics, coherence refers to the property of waves maintaining a constant phase relationship. When light waves are coherent, as in a laser, they can focus tremendous energy into a small point and accomplish things that incoherent light cannot. The difference between a laser and a regular light bulb isn't the amount of energy, it's the organization of that energy. A laser beam can cut through steel, travel vast distances without spreading, and carry information with incredible precision. A light bulb using the same amount of energy can only illuminate a small area with diffuse, scattered light. The laser's power comes not from having more energy, but from having perfectly organized, coherent energy. Dr. Roland McCrady and the HeartMath Institute have spent decades researching human coherence, and their findings are revolutionary. They've discovered that when your heart rhythm patterns become coherent, your entire physiology shifts into a state of optimal function. Your immune system strengthens, your cognitive abilities improve, and most importantly, for our discussion, your electromagnetic field becomes more organized and powerful. This coherent electromagnetic field extends several feet beyond your physical body. It's not just metaphorical, it's measurable with sensitive scientific instruments. When you're in a coherent state, this field becomes like a broadcasting antenna, transmitting your consciousness into the quantum field with clarity and power. Think about how a radio station works. If the transmitter is coherent, broadcasting a clear signal, radios can tune in easily from great distances. But if the transmitter is incoherent, full of static and interference, even nearby radios struggle to receive a clear signal. Your consciousness works the same way. When you're in a coherent state, you're broadcasting clearly into the quantum field. The field can hear your intentions, feel your desires, sense your vibrational signature with perfect clarity. When you're incoherent, stressed, anxious, conflicted, forcing, you're broadcasting static, and the field struggles to respond appropriately. But here's what's truly beautiful about coherence. You don't have to create it. You already are it. Coherence is your natural state. It's what happens when you stop interfering with your own inner harmony. Watch a baby sleeping peacefully. Their heart rate variability shows perfect coherence patterns. They're not trying to be coherent. They simply are. They haven't learned yet to complicate their natural state with worry, doubt, or effort. They exist in pure being, and this pure being is coherent by nature. As adults, we can return to this natural coherence through what scientists call heart-brain coherence. When your heart and brain synchronize their rhythms, when your emotions and thoughts align, when your intentions and feelings harmonize, you create a coherent state that's incredibly powerful for manifestation. Dr. Joe Dispenza has measured the brainwaves of people in deep meditative states and found something remarkable. In the most profound states of consciousness, the brain doesn't show the chaotic, mixed frequencies of normal waking consciousness. Instead, it shows long, slow, coherent waves that synchronize across different regions of the brain. In these states, the brain is functioning like a single, unified organ rather than a collection of separate parts. This unified brain state creates a unified field effect that extends beyond the individual and interacts directly with the quantum field. But perhaps even more fascinating is what happens to the electromagnetic field around the body during these coherent states. Using highly sensitive magnetometers, scientists have detected organized electromagnetic patterns extending up to 3 meters from meditators in coherent states. These aren't random electromagnetic emissions. They're organized, patterned, coherent fields that carry information. This is how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field. Your coherent electromagnetic field becomes a translation medium, converting your thoughts, emotions, and intentions into quantum information that the field can respond to. Now let's talk about the energy aspect of this process. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. This isn't New Age philosophy, it's fundamental physics. Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared, tells us that mass and energy are interchangeable. At the quantum level, what we call matter is really just energy in a temporarily stable pattern. Your thoughts are energy patterns. Your emotions are energy patterns. Your beliefs are energy patterns. When these patterns are coherent, they create what physicists call a standing wave, a stable energy formation that can influence and organize other energy patterns around it. Think of how a singer can shatter a crystal glass by singing at the glass's resonant frequency. The sound waves organize themselves into a coherent pattern that resonates with the molecular structure of the glass. The singer isn't using force, they're using coherence, alignment, resonance. This is exactly how quantum manifestation works. When your consciousness becomes coherent with your desires, when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions align into a stable, organized pattern, you create a standing wave in the quantum field. This standing wave resonates with the potential reality you wish to experience, causing it to collapse from possibility into manifestation. The key insight here is that you don't need more energy. You need more coherent energy. A small amount of highly organized, coherent consciousness is far more powerful than large amounts of chaotic, incoherent mental effort. Consider the difference between a symphony orchestra and a room full of people randomly playing instruments. The orchestra might actually use less total sound energy, but because every musician is playing in harmony with the others, the result is beautiful, powerful, and moving. The random players might create more noise, but it's chaotic, ineffective, and unpleasant. Your consciousness can operate like either scenario. When your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are all playing the same symphony, when they're coherent, even quiet, gentle consciousness can create profound effects in the quantum field. When they're chaotic and conflicted, even intense effort fails to create meaningful results. As you lie here now, you can feel this coherence beginning to naturally establish itself in your system. You don't need to force it or manufacture it. Simply by relaxing, simply by allowing, simply by being present to this moment, coherence arises spontaneously. Feel your heartbeat. Notice how steady and rhythmic it is. This rhythm is creating coherence in your cardiovascular system. Feel your breathing. Notice how naturally it flows in and out. This rhythm is creating coherence in your respiratory system. Allow these natural rhythms to sync up, to harmonize, to create a unified, coherent state throughout your entire being. This is the science of coherence, not complicated, not difficult, not requiring years of training or special abilities. It's as natural as your heartbeat, as essential as your breath, as simple as allowing what already is to flow unimpeded through your consciousness. In this coherent state, you become a clear, powerful transmitter into the quantum field. Your desires are broadcast with crystal clarity. Your intentions resonate through the fabric of reality itself. Your dreams begin to organize circumstances, attract opportunities, and align experiences that support their manifestation. You don't have to understand exactly how this works. You just have to allow it. Like a flower that doesn't understand photosynthesis but naturally turns toward the sun, you can naturally align with coherence without needing to comprehend every aspect of the process. Chapter 3: Three-Step Alignment Framework for Manifestation. As you continue to sink deeper into this peaceful, coherent state, let's explore a beautifully simple three-step framework that aligns you effortlessly with the quantum manifestation process. Like a gentle river finding its way to the ocean, this framework guides your consciousness naturally toward the realization of your deepest desires. Think of these 3 steps not as things you must do, but as qualities you can embody, like slipping into comfortable clothing that fits you perfectly. They're designed to work with your natural consciousness, not against it. Step 1: Quantum Clarity. The first step is achieving what we call quantum clarity. Not the forced clarity of the analytical mind, but the soft, natural clarity that emerges when you stop trying so hard to figure everything out. Imagine standing on a mountaintop on a perfectly clear day. You can see for miles in every direction, not because you're straining to see, but because the air is pure and there are no obstructions. This is quantum clarity, a state where your intentions become crystal clear without effort, where you know what you want without needing to justify why you want it. In quantum physics, there's a principle called non-locality, which means that particles can be instantaneously connected across vast distances. When one particle is observed or measured, its entangled partner immediately responds, regardless of the space between them. This connection happens faster than the speed of light. In fact, it appears to happen outside of time and space altogether. Your consciousness operates on this same non-local principle. When you achieve quantum clarity about your desires, you instantly create an entanglement with the potential reality that matches those desires. The quantum field immediately knows what you're aligned with and begins organizing circumstances, opportunities, and synchronicities to support that reality. But here's the key. This clarity must be clean. It must be free from doubt, contradiction, and internal conflict. It's like tuning a musical instrument. When the strings are properly tuned, they resonate in harmony. When they're out of tune, they create discord. Most people sabotage their manifestations because their clarity is muddy. They want financial abundance, but they believe money is spiritually corrupting. They desire a loving relationship, but they fear being hurt. They dream of creative success, but they believe they're not talented enough. These internal contradictions create quantum interference patterns that cancel out manifestation. Quantum clarity means aligning all aspects of your consciousness, conscious and unconscious, mental and emotional, intellectual and intuitive, with your desired reality. It's like getting all the instruments in an orchestra to play the same symphony. The beautiful thing about quantum clarity is that you don't need to manufacture it. You simply need to remove the obstructions that are blocking it. Like clearing debris from a stream, once you remove the interference, clarity flows naturally. How do you achieve this clarity? Not through force or effort, but through gentle inquiry and honest recognition. Simply ask yourself, what do I truly desire? Not what you think you should desire, not what others expect you to desire, but what authentically calls to your heart. Then, gently notice as any conflicting beliefs or emotions that arise. Don't fight them or judge them. Simply acknowledge them with compassion. Often, the very act of conscious recognition is enough to begin dissolving these internal conflicts. As you rest here now, you might find that clarity about your deepest desires begins to emerge naturally. Allow this clarity to unfold without pressure. Trust that your authentic desires are already clear within you. You're simply creating space for them to be recognized. Step 2. Elevated coherence. The second step is what we call elevated coherence, a state where your entire being resonates with the frequency of your desired reality. This isn't about generating positive emotions through willpower. It's about naturally aligning with the emotional signature of your dreams. Every possible reality has what we might call an emotional signature, a unique vibrational pattern that characterizes that timeline. The reality where you're abundantly successful feels different from the reality where you're struggling. The reality where you're in a loving relationship has a different emotional texture than the reality where you're alone. Elevated coherence means learning to recognize and embody the emotional signature of your desired reality before it manifests physically. It's like putting on the emotional clothing of your future self, wearing it so naturally that it becomes your new normal. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this living in the end result. You begin to feel grateful for what you desire before you receive it, excited about opportunities before they appear, confident in your abilities before they're fully developed. You're not pretending or faking these emotions. You're recognizing that in the quantum field, your desired reality already exists, and these elevated emotions are simply you tuning into that frequency. Think of how an opera singer prepares to hit a high note. They don't strain or force their voice. Instead, they align their entire body, their posture, their breathing, their resonance chambers, to naturally produce that frequency. When everything is aligned, the note emerges effortlessly and beautifully. Elevated coherence works the same way. When your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and intentions are all aligned with your desired reality, you naturally begin to vibrate at the frequency of that reality. You don't have to force this vibration, it emerges organically from your alignment. The key here is understanding that elevated emotions are not manufactured, they're discovered. They're not something you have to create, but something you can recognize and allow. When you truly connect with a desire that's aligned with your authentic self, the elevated emotions arise naturally. Joy, gratitude, excitement, love, peace, these aren't emotions you have to work to feel. They're the natural byproducts of alignment with truth. Imagine a tuning fork that's struck and begins to vibrate. It doesn't have to try to vibrate. Vibration is its natural response to being activated. Similarly, when your consciousness is struck by authentic desire, elevated emotions are the natural vibration that results. Step 3. Effortless allowing. The third and perhaps most important step is effortless allowing, the art of getting out of your own way and permitting the quantum field to work its magic. This is where most people struggle the most, because allowing requires a fundamental shift from doing to being, from controlling to trusting, from forcing to receiving. Effortless allowing is like floating in warm ocean water. You don't have to work to stay afloat. The water naturally supports you. You just have to stop struggling, stop fighting, stop trying to control every aspect of the experience. The moment you relax and trust, buoyancy takes over. In quantum mechanics, there's a phenomenon called quantum tunneling, where particles can pass through barriers that should be impossible to cross according to classical physics. The particle doesn't force its way through the barrier. It simply appears on the other side, as if the barrier wasn't there. Manifestation often works through the same principle of quantum tunneling. Solutions appear where none seemed possible. Opportunities arise from unexpected directions. Resources manifest through channels you never could have planned or predicted. The quantum field doesn't follow the linear, logical paths that our minds expect. It finds the path of least resistance, the elegant solution, the miraculous shortcut. But this can only happen when you're in a state of allowing. When you're forcing, controlling, micromanaging the process, you're creating quantum resistance. You're essentially telling the field, I don't trust you to find the best path. I have to control every step of the journey. Effortless allowing means trusting the intelligence of the quantum field. This field has been orchestrating the dance of galaxies, the formation of stars, the evolution of life for billions of years. It knows how to bring your desires into manifestation far better than your conscious mind does. This doesn't mean being passive or inactive. It means taking inspired action, action that feels easy, joyful, aligned. When you're in a state of allowing, action doesn't feel like work. It feels like play, like dancing, like expressing the joy of being alive. Think of how a river flows toward the ocean. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. It finds the path of least resistance. It goes around rocks, carves through soft earth, pools and valleys, and cascades down cliffs. Every movement is purposeful, but none of it feels effortful. The river is simply expressing its nature, following its natural course. This is how manifestation works when you're in a state of effortless allowing. You're not pushing against resistance, you're flowing around it. You're not trying to force outcomes, you're allowing them to emerge naturally from your alignment. Allowing also means releasing attachment to specific timelines and methods. When you're truly allowing, you hold your desires lightly, joyfully, without desperation. You know that what's meant for you will come to you in the perfect way, at the perfect time, through the perfect circumstances. As you rest here now, you can practice this three-step framework. Feel into the quiet clarity that's naturally present beneath your thoughts. Allow yourself to recognize the elevated emotions that arise when you connect with your authentic desires. And practice the gentle art of allowing, trusting that the same intelligence that beats your heart and grows your cells knows exactly how to bring your dreams into reality. These aren't steps you have to remember or force yourself to practice. They're natural states that emerge when you stop interfering with your own power. Like a flower opening to the sun, these qualities bloom spontaneously when you create the right conditions. And the right condition is simply this peaceful, present moment awareness you're experiencing right now. Feel how natural it is to be clear about what you truly want. Feel how easy it is to connect with the elevated emotions of your dreams already fulfilled. Feel how simple it is to allow the quantum field to orchestrate the perfect unfolding of your desires. This is quantum manifestation at its most essential, not a complex technique to master, but a natural alignment to remember. You don't have to become someone different to manifest your dreams. You simply have to stop pretending to be someone you're not. Chapter 4: Timeline Selection and Quantum Reality. As you breathe deeply and feel your consciousness expanding, let's explore one of the most fascinating aspects of quantum manifestation: the ability to consciously select which timeline you experience from the infinite array of possibilities that exist in the quantum field. Imagine, if you will, that you're standing in a vast library with infinite floors, infinite aisles, and infinite books. Each book represents a different possible version of your life, a different timeline where events unfold in unique ways. Some books tell stories of struggle and limitation, others of abundance and joy. Some describe lives of quiet contentment, others of dramatic adventure and success. This infinite library is the quantum field, a realm where all possibilities exist simultaneously in what physicists call superposition. Until you observe or experience a particular reality, all potential realities remain equally real, equally possible, equally valid. The remarkable discovery of quantum physics is that consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining which of these infinite possibilities becomes your experienced reality. You're not just a passive observer of your life, you're an active participant in selecting which timeline you collapse into manifestation. Dr. Hugh Everett III proposed the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, suggesting that every quantum measurement or observation causes reality to branch into multiple parallel worlds. In one world, you make one choice and experience one outcome. In another world, you make a different choice and experience a different outcome. All of these worlds are equally real. You simply experience the one that aligns with your consciousness. This isn't science fiction. This is cutting-edge physics. The implications for manifestation are profound. It means that the life you dream of already exists. The version of you that's living that life already exists. The relationships, opportunities, and circumstances you desire already exist. They're not potential futures that might happen someday. They're present realities happening right now in parallel timelines. Your job isn't to create these realities from scratch. Your job is to select which one you tune into, which one you align with, which one you allow yourself to experience. Think of it like this. Imagine you're standing in front of an infinite array of radio stations, each broadcasting a different program. One station is playing sad, depressing music. Another is playing uplifting, inspiring music. Yet another is playing chaotic noise. And somewhere in this infinite array is a station playing exactly the music you want to hear, the soundtrack to your ideal life. You don't have to create the radio waves. You don't have to force the stations to broadcast different content. You simply have to tune your receiver to the frequency you want to experience. When you change the dial, you don't change what's being broadcast. You change what you're receiving. This is timeline selection. When you shift your consciousness, when you change your vibrational frequency, when you alter your beliefs and emotions, you're not changing external reality. You're changing which version of reality you tune into. But here's the key insight. Timeline selection happens through resonance, not effort. You don't force yourself into a different timeline. You don't struggle or strain to change your reality. You simply align your consciousness with the timeline you prefer, and quantum mechanics does the rest. Dr. David Bohm, one of the most respected quantum physicists of the 20th century, proposed that reality has two fundamental aspects: the explicate order, the physical world we can observe and measure, and the implicate order, a deeper level of reality where all possibilities exist simultaneously in an enfolded state. According to Bohm, manifestation happens when possibilities from the implicate order unfold into the explicate order. This unfolding is guided by what he called active information, patterns of consciousness that determine which possibilities become manifest. Your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and expectations are forms of active information. They're like quantum software programs running in the background of your consciousness, constantly selecting which possibilities unfold into your experienced reality. When you change your active information, when you shift your thoughts from lack to abundance, your emotions from fear to love, your beliefs from limitation to possibility, you begin to select different timelines. Realities that were previously unavailable suddenly become accessible. Opportunities that seemed impossible start appearing. People who can help you achieve your dreams begin showing up in your life. This process often happens so smoothly, so naturally, that you might not even notice it at first. You might think you're just getting lucky, or that circumstances are coincidentally improving. But what's actually happening is that you're shifting into timelines where these positive circumstances are natural, normal, expected. Let me share with you the 3 principles of conscious timeline selection. Principle 1, quantum identity alignment. This means aligning your sense of identity with the version of yourself that exists in your preferred timeline. Instead of thinking, I want to be successful, you begin to recognize, I am successful, instead of, I hope to find love. You understand, I am love, and love naturally flows to and through me. This isn't positive thinking or affirmations. It's quantum identity recognition. You're not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're recognizing a truth that already exists in the quantum field. Somewhere in the infinite array of possibilities, there's a timeline where you are exactly who you dream of being. By aligning your identity with that version of yourself, you begin to resonate with that timeline. Think of it like method acting. When an actor truly embodies a character, they don't just pretend to be that person, they temporarily become that person. Their thoughts, emotions, mannerisms, and even their physiology shifts to match the character. This isn't fake or artificial. It's a temporary but complete alignment with a different identity. Quantum identity alignment works the same way. You're not pretending to be your future self. You're recognizing that your future self already exists in the quantum field and temporarily aligning your current identity with that reality. Principle 2, Emotional Timeline Coherence. Every timeline has a distinct emotional signature. The timeline where you're struggling financially feels different from the timeline where you're abundantly prosperous. The timeline where you're lonely feels different from the timeline where you're surrounded by loving relationships. Emotional timeline coherence means learning to recognize and embody the emotional signature of your preferred timeline. You begin to feel grateful for abundance before it's fully manifest. You experience the peace of being loved before the relationship appears. You feel the excitement of creative success before the project is complete. These aren't fake emotions or wishful thinking, they're previews of the emotional reality that exists in your preferred timeline. By aligning with these emotions, you're essentially sending a signal to the quantum field. This is the timeline I choose to experience. It's like tuning into a radio station by recognizing its unique sound. Each timeline has its own emotional frequency, and by matching that frequency, you begin to receive that timeline's broadcast. Principle 3, Expectational Momentum. This is perhaps the most subtle but most powerful principle. Expectational momentum means shifting from hoping something will happen to expecting it to happen, from wondering if it's possible to knowing it's inevitable. In quantum physics, there's something called the quantum Zeno effect, where frequent observations can freeze the evolution of a quantum system. Applied to manifestation, this means that constantly checking for results, doubting the process, or wavering in your expectations can actually prevent timeline shifts from occurring. Expectational momentum is the opposite of this. It's a steady, unwavering knowing that your desired timeline is not only possible, but inevitable. It's like being on a train heading to your destination. You don't constantly worry about whether you'll arrive. You simply enjoy the journey, knowing that arrival is certain. This doesn't mean you need to manufacture certainty or force yourself to feel confident. True expectational momentum arises naturally when you understand the quantum mechanics of reality. When you truly grasp that all possibilities exist simultaneously and that consciousness selects which one you experience, expectation becomes as natural as expecting the sun to rise. As you rest here now in this peaceful state, you can feel yourself naturally aligning with your preferred timeline. You don't need to force this alignment or work hard to achieve it. Simply by relaxing into your authentic desires, by allowing elevated emotions to arise naturally, by trusting in the intelligence of the quantum field, you're automatically selecting the timeline that matches your highest good. Feel yourself gently shifting, like a radio dial slowly turning to find the clearest station. With each breath, you're tuning more precisely into the frequency of your ideal life. With each moment of allowing, you're opening to receive the reality that's already waiting for you in the quantum field. Notice how natural this feels. There's no strain, no effort, no forcing required. You're simply recognizing which station you want to tune into and allowing your consciousness to naturally align with that frequency. The timeline where your dreams are already fulfilled is broadcasting right now, sending its signal through the quantum field, waiting for you to tune in and receive it. Chapter 5: Hidden Layer of Quantum Field Entanglement. As you continue to drift in this peaceful state of expanded awareness, let's explore the hidden layer of reality that quantum physicists call entanglement, a phenomenon so profound and mysterious that Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. Yet this seemingly spooky phenomenon is actually the secret key that makes quantum manifestation not just possible, but inevitable. Imagine two dancers who have practiced together for so long that they move as one entity. When one dancer raises their arm, the other instinctively responds. When one steps forward, the other flows backward. They're not communicating through words or signals. They've become so attuned to each other that they share a unified consciousness, a single field of awareness expressing itself through two bodies. This is quantum entanglement, the discovery that particles can become so intimately connected that they share the same quantum state, even when separated by vast distances. When something happens to one entangled particle, the other particle instantly responds, regardless of how far apart they are. This response doesn't travel through space at the speed of light. It happens instantaneously, outside of time and space as we normally understand them. But here's the revolutionary insight that most people don't realize. Consciousness itself is quantum entangled with the field of infinite possibilities. Your awareness, your intentions, your deepest desires are not separate from the quantum field. They're intimately entangled with it. When something shifts in your consciousness, the entire field responds instantly. Dr. Ervin Laszlo, a systems philosopher and consciousness researcher, has proposed that there exists what he calls the Akashic field, a field of information that connects all things in the universe. This field stores the information of all possibilities, all potentials, all timelines that ever were or could be. When you align your consciousness with a particular possibility, you become entangled with that reality at the quantum level. This entanglement is not metaphorical. It's measurable, demonstrable, and absolutely fundamental to how reality operates. When consciousness becomes coherent and focused on a particular outcome, it creates what physicists call quantum entanglement with the corresponding possibility in the field. Once this entanglement occurs, the manifestation of that possibility becomes not just likely, but inevitable. Think of it like this. Imagine you're holding one end of an incredibly long rope, and someone you can't see is holding the other end thousands of miles away. When you shake your end of the rope, the person on the other end immediately feels the vibration. The movement travels along the rope from one end to the other. This is how most people think cause and effect works, through a chain of connections across time and space. But quantum entanglement works differently. It's as if shaking your end of the rope instantly causes the other end to shake, without the vibration having to travel along the rope. The connection is immediate, non-local, and exists outside the normal laws of physics as we understand them. When your consciousness becomes entangled with your desired reality, changes in your awareness instantly influence the probability of that reality manifesting. You don't have to send energy out into the world and wait for it to come back. You don't have to take a series of actions and hope they lead to results. The connection is immediate and direct. This is why sudden, dramatic manifestations are possible. This is why people sometimes experience what seem like miracles, instantaneous healings, unexpected windfalls, perfect synchronicities that seem impossible by normal standards. What's actually happening is that their consciousness has become so coherently aligned with a particular possibility that quantum entanglement creates immediate, non-local effects. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Quantum entanglement isn't limited to your individual consciousness. Your consciousness is entangled with the consciousness of every other being in the universe. When you shift into a more coherent, elevated state, you're not just affecting your own reality, you're contributing to a collective field of consciousness that influences everyone. Dr. Lynn McTaggart, in her research on consciousness and the zero-point field, has documented numerous experiments showing that focused group intention can influence physical reality at a distance. Groups of meditators have been able to reduce crime rates in cities, improve healing outcomes in hospital patients, and even influence random number generators thousands of miles away. This happens because consciousness is fundamentally entangled. When a group of people align their consciousness coherently around a shared intention, they create what physicists call a macroscopic quantum effect, the quantum properties that normally only appear at the microscopic level begin to manifest at the scale of everyday reality. This means that your individual practice of quantum manifestation is never purely individual. Every moment you spend in coherent alignment, every time you embody the frequency of your desired reality, every instance of elevated emotion and clear intention creates ripples through the entangled field of collective consciousness. You're not just manifesting for yourself, you're contributing to the manifestation of a more coherent, loving, abundant reality for everyone. Your personal transformation becomes a gift to the whole of humanity, because consciousness is indivisibly one, infinitely entangled, eternally connected. Now let's explore how to work consciously with quantum entanglement for manifestation. Layer 1. Recognition of entanglement. The first step is simply recognizing that entanglement is already occurring. You don't have to create a connection with the quantum field. You are already connected. You don't have to establish entanglement with your desired reality. You are already entangled. The connection exists right now in this very moment as a fundamental property of consciousness itself. This recognition changes everything. Instead of trying to send your desires out into the universe and hoping they'll be received, you begin to understand that your desires and their fulfillment exist in the same entangled quantum state. The moment you truly desire something, the potential for its manifestation is instantaneously activated. It's like discovering that you've been holding both ends of the rope all along. You thought you had to throw one end across a vast distance and hope someone would catch it. But in reality, you're already connected to everything you could ever want or need. Layer 2. Coherent entanglement states. Not all states of consciousness create the same quality of entanglement. When your consciousness is chaotic, conflicted, or incoherent, your entanglement with desired realities becomes weak and unstable. But when your consciousness becomes coherent, when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions align harmoniously, your entanglement becomes strong and clear. Think of the difference between a tangled ball of yarn and a perfectly woven tapestry. Both contain the same material, but one is chaotic and unusable, while the other is beautiful and functional. Coherent entanglement states are like perfectly woven consciousness, all aspects of your awareness working together in harmony. In these coherent states, your entanglement with desired realities becomes so strong that manifestation happens with remarkable speed and precision. You begin to experience what mystics have called divine flow, a state where everything you need appears exactly when you need it, where synchronicities become commonplace, where life feels like a beautiful dance choreographed by infinite intelligence. Layer 3, collective entanglement fields. The most profound level of quantum entanglement occurs when your consciousness aligns with collective fields of coherent intention. When you connect with others who share similar desires for healing, abundance, love, and conscious evolution, you become part of a collective entanglement field that amplifies everyone's manifestation potential. This is why spiritual communities, mastermind groups, and collective meditation practices can be so powerful. They're not just providing social support, they're creating collective entanglement fields that make individual manifestations more likely and more powerful. But you don't need to be physically present with others to tap into collective entanglement fields. These fields exist in the quantum realm, which transcends physical space and time. By aligning your consciousness with universal principles like love, compassion, abundance, and wisdom, you automatically entangle with the collective field of all beings who share these values. As you rest here now, feel into this profound truth. You are not separate from anything you desire. You are not disconnected from the abundance, love, health, and fulfillment you seek. At the deepest level of reality, you and your dreams exist in perfect quantum entanglement, unified in the same field of infinite possibility. This isn't something you need to achieve or work toward. It's something you can recognize and allow right now. With each breath, feel yourself settling more deeply into this recognition. With each moment of relaxation, allow the coherence of your consciousness to strengthen your entanglement with the reality of your highest dreams. The quantum field has been patiently holding space for your awakening to this truth. All the love, abundance, plus health, and joy you could ever desire exists right now in quantum entanglement with your consciousness, waiting not for you to earn it or deserve it, but simply for you to recognize it and allow it to manifest through the natural laws of quantum mechanics. Feel the invisible threads of connection linking your heart to every possibility that calls to you. Feel the quantum web of entanglement that connects your consciousness to the consciousness of every being who has ever lived or ever will live. You are not alone in this process. You are supported by the infinite intelligence of the universe itself. Chapter 6, Unity Consciousness and Collective Awakening. As we approach the culmination of this peaceful journey into quantum manifestation, let's explore the most profound level of this process, the recognition that individual manifestation is actually an expression of universal consciousness awakening to its own infinite creative power. Imagine, if you will, that you are a wave on the ocean. For most of your existence as a wave, you believe you are separate from other waves, separate from the ocean itself. You work hard to maintain your individual shape, to achieve your personal goals, to manifest your own desires. You compete with other waves, compare yourself to them, sometimes feel envious of their height or beauty. But then, in a moment of profound stillness, you recognize the truth. You are not separate from the ocean. You are the ocean, temporarily expressing itself as a wave. Every other wave is also the ocean. The vast body of water that supports you all is not something external. It is your deepest identity, your truest nature, your infinite source. This is unity consciousness, the recognition that individual awareness is not separate from universal consciousness, that personal manifestation is not separate from cosmic creativity, that your desires and dreams are not personal wants, but expressions of the universe itself, seeking to know itself more fully through your unique perspective. Dr. David Hawkins, in his research on consciousness and spiritual evolution, mapped the various levels of human consciousness and discovered something remarkable. At the highest levels of consciousness, what he called enlightenment or pure consciousness, individual manifestation becomes effortless because there's no longer a sense of separation between the manifester and the field of infinite possibility. In these elevated states, you don't manifest things for yourself because you recognize that you are not separate from anything. You don't try to get something from the universe because you understand that you are the universe. Manifestation becomes as natural as breathing, as automatic as your heartbeat, as effortless as a flower blooming in spring. But here's what's truly beautiful about unity consciousness. You don't have to reach some perfect, enlightened state to benefit from this understanding. Even a glimpse, even a momentary recognition of your deeper nature can transform your entire relationship with manifestation. When you begin to see your desires not as personal wants, but as the universe exploring its own creative potential through you, everything changes. Your manifestations stop being about getting something you lack and start being about expressing something you already are. You shift from a paradigm of scarcity to a paradigm of abundance, from acquisition to expression, from having to being. Dr. Amit Goswami, quantum physicist and consciousness researcher, has proposed that consciousness is the ground of all being, that the entire physical universe is actually consciousness temporarily forgetting itself and then remembering itself through infinite expressions of creativity. Your individual life, your unique desires, your specific dreams are all ways that consciousness explores and expresses its own infinite nature. This perspective revolutionizes manifestation because it removes the fundamental obstacle that blocks most people, the belief in separation. When you believe you are separate from what you desire, manifestation feels difficult because you have to somehow bridge that gap. But when you recognize that you and your desires arise from the same source, exist in the same field, are expressions of the same infinite consciousness, manifestation becomes natural. Think of how a master artist creates. They don't struggle to force paint onto canvas. They don't fight with their brushes or argue with their colors. Instead, they become so aligned with the creative impulse flowing through them that they disappear into the process. The painting paints itself through them. They become transparent to the creative force that wants to express itself. This is manifestation from unity consciousness. You become so aligned with the universal creative impulse that your desires manifest through you rather than by you. You become a clear channel for the infinite intelligence that's always seeking to express itself in more beautiful, more loving, more abundant ways. But unity consciousness has another profound implication for manifestation. It connects your personal dreams to the collective evolution of humanity. When you manifest from this elevated perspective, your individual successes become contributions to the elevation of all consciousness. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's research on morphic resonance suggests that when one member of a species learns something new, it becomes easier for all other members of that species to learn the same thing. There's a field of collective learning that transcends individual minds. Applied to consciousness and manifestation, this means that every time you successfully align with abundance, love, health, or joy, you make it easier for everyone else to access these same states. Your personal breakthrough becomes a gift to the collective field of human consciousness. This is why the most evolved teachers of manifestation often speak about service, about contributing to the whole, about being an instrument of universal good. They've discovered that the most powerful manifestations come not from trying to get something for the separate self, but from allowing the universal self to express its infinite nature through their individual experience. When you manifest a loving relationship, you're not just creating personal happiness, you're adding to the field of love that makes loving relationships more available to everyone. When you manifest abundant prosperity, you're not just securing your own financial future, you're demonstrating that abundance is possible and contributing to a collective field that makes prosperity more accessible to all. When you manifest radiant health, you're not just healing your own body, you're strengthening the morphic field of health and vitality that supports the well-being of all life. When you manifest creative success, you're not just fulfilling personal ambitions, you're expanding the collective field of creative possibility for all artists, writers, inventors, and visionaries. This is the profound secret that the greatest manifestation teachers have always known. The most powerful way to manifest for yourself is to manifest for everyone. The most effective way to create personal abundance is to contribute to universal abundance. The surest path to individual fulfillment is to serve the fulfillment of the whole. As you rest here in this state of peaceful expansion, you can feel this truth resonating in the depths of your being. You can sense the profound interconnectedness that links your consciousness with all consciousness, your dreams with universal creativity, your individual journey with the collective evolution of humanity. You don't need to understand this intellectually or figure out how to apply it practically. Simply allowing this recognition to settle into your awareness is enough. Simply being open to the possibility that your manifestations are expressions of universal consciousness is sufficient to begin aligning with this deeper level of creative power. The most beautiful aspect of unity consciousness is that it dissolves the anxiety and desperation that often accompany manifestation work. When you recognize that you are not separate from what you desire, when you understand that your dreams are expressions of universal creativity, when you realize that your success serves the whole, manifestation becomes joyful rather than stressful. You stop worrying about whether you deserve what you want because you understand that the universe doesn't withhold from itself. You stop fearing failure because you recognize that every experience contributes to the expansion of consciousness. You stop competing with others because you understand that their success is your success, their joy is your joy, their abundance is your abundance. In this state of unity consciousness, you become like a lens that focuses the infinite light of universal creativity into specific manifestations. You're not creating something from nothing. You're allowing the infinite something that already exists to express itself through the unique configuration of your individual consciousness. This is perhaps the most relaxing and peaceful way to approach manifestation. Instead of carrying the burden of making things happen, you simply become available to receive what wants to happen through you. Instead of struggling to create your dreams, you allow your dreams to create themselves through your willing participation. As we conclude this gentle exploration of quantum manifestation, remember that everything we've discussed, the simplicity that transcends complexity, the coherence that organizes energy, the alignment that selects timelines, the entanglement that connects all things, and the unity that embraces everything, is already present within you. You are not someone who needs to learn quantum manifestation. You are quantum consciousness itself, temporarily forgetting your infinite nature and now beginning to remember. You are not separate from the field of infinite possibility. You are that field, exploring its own creativity through the unique and precious lens of your individual experience. Your desires matter because they are the universe desiring to know itself more fully. Your dreams are important because they are expressions of cosmic creativity. Your manifestations serve the whole because you and the whole are one undivided reality, one infinite consciousness, one perfect field of unlimited potential. Rest now in this knowing. Allow it to settle into your cells, into your dreams, into the very fabric of your being. Trust that as you sleep, as you rest, as you simply exist in this peaceful state of allowing, the quantum field is organizing itself around your highest good, your deepest joy, your most authentic expression. You are held, you are supported, you are infinitely loved by the same intelligence that spins galaxies and grows flowers, that guides planets in their orbits and beats your heart without your conscious effort. This intelligence knows how to manifest your dreams far better than your mind could ever plan or control. Surrender to this intelligence. Trust its perfect timing. Allow its infinite love to carry your desires into manifestation with the same effortless grace with which it carries the sun across the sky and the seasons through their eternal dance. You are quantum consciousness awakening to its own creative power. You are the universe learning to manifest through love rather than force, through alignment rather than effort, through unity rather than separation. Sleep peacefully now, knowing that in the quantum field of infinite possibility, every dream you've ever dreamed is already real, already waiting, already perfect, ready to collapse into your experienced reality the moment you stop interfering with the miraculous process of simply being who you truly are. Feel yourself dissolving into the ocean of pure consciousness, where all possibilities exist simultaneously, where all timelines converge, where all desires are already fulfilled. You are not waiting for your dreams to come true. Your dreams are waiting for you to recognize that they have always been true. Rest in the profound peace of knowing that you are not separate from your desires, not separate from abundance, not separate from love, not separate from perfect health, not separate from creative fulfillment. You are the quantum field itself, dreaming of individuality and now awakening to unity. Let this recognition carry you gently into sleep, into dreams, into the deep rest where conscious and unconscious minds merge, where individual and universal consciousness unite, where the manifestation of your highest good happens automatically, effortlessly, perfectly. You are quantum manifestation in action. You are the universe successfully expressing itself through the beautiful, unique, precious form of your individual consciousness. You are exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be here, exactly as you need to be to allow the next phase of your magnificent unfolding. Sleep, sleep, now, beloved consciousness, and dream the dreams that dream the world into new possibilities, new realities, new expressions of infinite love and creativity. The quantum field holds you in perfect embrace, manifesting through you the beauty, abundance, and joy that are your birthright and your gift to the world. And now, as we softly return to this moment, I invite you to carry this awareness forward. Notice the subtle patterns around you. Observe the synchronicities in your day. Reflect on the choices you make, and explore the playful dance of consciousness in your own life. If you've enjoyed this journey and wish to continue exploring the mysteries of quantum reality, consciousness, and the multiverse in a soothing, meditative style, please subscribe to Sleep Entangled, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your awareness, curiosity, and engagement help grow this community of gentle explorers, threading together the infinite tapestry of learning and reflection. Thank you for spending this time with me. May your nights be filled with soft, dreamlike wonder, and may your consciousness always drift playfully among the infinite possibilities of reality. Good night, and until next time, keep exploring the gentle mysteries of existence.